I suppose we're starting with the surprise confetti cannon. I guess I forgot to turn that off from last time. Here's my button. Boop. Sometimes that happens, because literally it's because the button is a state machine, so like it's either on or off. So if it's on and I swap scenes, it'll play, but like it doesn't loop, so it plays once. So I have to remember to turn it off manually, so then it can turn back on later. But I have to wait for the whole animation to finish, which takes a little bit of time, and I like watching little thingies fall. So, it takes an extra second or two. And then this happens sometimes. And there we go. That's the whole story. I don't know why I decided to tell the entire story of why that happens, but I did. That's apparently how I'm feeling today. So, all right. Here we go again. Another beautiful Thursday. Some more future, some more cards, some more. Let's see what we have in store here. Still loving the hell out of this game. Legitimately. Looking forward to some more deep conversations. Maybe more tears today. Who knows? I literally never know what to expect with this game. Also, hello, Kishiated with this game as well. Always a nice time. Let's just go into the. Oh, we literally have no fire because we just don't. Oh, yes. Okay, so we literally just ended from talking to our sister, who is rad as hell and is now fated to become a goddess because that's what we did. That's the choice that I made. Maybe it wasn't the best choice, but it was my choice. And that's what matters, right? What a bossy sister. Tell me about it. The air seals didn't seem to make a dent on her. I'm a bit disappointed in my magic. I'd say Patricia adores me in her own way. She just has a tough way of expressing love. I'm beginning to think I sided with the wrong sister. Shut up. So shit is getting real. Are you excited? Wait, I just had a thought. If we take over the coven, because we're also going to be like, we sacrifice the coven technically, like it's going to be destroyed. We have to be really careful how we form our political everything. Hold on, I need to clear my throat real quick. There we go, much better. Oh, thank you for the stretch, Kira. Yeah, we're gonna have to be real careful how we frame our politics. Well, we just always doing our best. That's how this goes. That's the whole song and dance. Okie dokie. Are you getting excited? Oh, how do I feel? I mean, I've been excited the whole time. So let's just say yeah. Online lecture. Oh, space politics. I mean, our journey into politics has only just begun, so I guess we'll find out. The biological concept. Oh yeah, I actually watched a thing about how human race was something that was like races as a concept was something that was created in the 1800s. There's a huge gap between there. I think it's probably closer to the 1800s. Just as an idea, I think before then people were just kind of clumped together based on their nationality. Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty solid one. I feel like maybe I watched the same video. It's a YouTuber, right? Which YouTuber? I don't necessarily need a link to it. I'm just curious if it's the same YouTuber in the same video I happen to watch. That would be fascinating. As a matter of fact, I am. No, it's a university lecture. Oh. Well, I watched a similar YouTube video, so I guess, in a Teams. Okay, well, enjoy. I hope you're able to do both at the same time. The lecture plagiarized YouTube. I've always thought about like how often that probably happens and how super easy that would be to do. Cause like the chances of these kiddos checking up on the professor and looking up these same topics later is like really rare unless it's already just a super popular YouTuber. But even then, like, if you're saying it out loud in public, how are they gonna get you for plagiarism? Oh yeah, I loved H. Bomber Guy's plagiarism video. It was a ride. It was a beautiful. I watched on 2 times speed, so it was still an hour and a half, but it was phenomenal. Loved it, and I still think even more so from that it happens in real life a lot. Actually, no, this is actually very related. So one of my professors, 4 times. My God, I don't think I could. I mean, I loved it, but I don't think I could watch it more than once because I would remember everything that happens. But I guess if you're getting more details out of it, hey, that's great. Right. So, but relevant, I do also love video essays, relevant to real life. So actually, one of my professors has her presentations, and I was like, cool, cool. When I'm writing my thesis, some of these sources are really useful for me, and some of the information in here, I'm going to look through these same sources and, also quote some of the same information. It's not plagiarism if you take the same information, but literally rephrase it. Also, it's the same professor who, like, would obviously want me to write my thesis based on this stuff. Cool, cool, tight, tight. All right. So then I found out, so one of the topics, and it made me realize that this is probably done for more than one topic, but one of the topics at least, I was looking up some stuff. I'm like, man, there's like 10 sources in here. I'm going to have to look up all of these sources. I'm going to have to get them all cited, et cetera, et cetera. And it turns out I literally was just like, and I searched because I couldn't find one of the sources. So I just searched one of the sentences in the hopes that I would find the source. Now, not only did I not get directed to the source, but I got directed to the paper that cites all of the exact same sources that she did. Basically had she copied almost the exact same sentence from this one paper and their same sources for those sentences and just put it on a PowerPoint because sure, why not? I guess plagiarism doesn't apply to a PowerPoint done in a lecture. I guess not. I mean, I don't care. But when I noticed that, I was just like, oh, I see. Now, of course, this paper where she got all the stuff from, that one wasn't sourced. Nope. Just all of the sources that the paper used. Now, have I done that same trick? Yes, I have. Do I rephrase almost everything as best as I can? I absolutely positively do. I definitely do that thing still. But writing a thesis is a hard job, and so I really don't blame people for getting real close to plagiarism sometimes because, man, I don't need to write this. This isn't getting published anywhere. I don't. Like, some of these things, there's no opinions to have on it. Like, how much, there's not really new ways to say certain information. Like, if it's literally like, oh, hey, by the way, oh, also, hi, Ribsticks, by the way. I am cozy, but I'm also apparently on a roll with this little rant here. Yeah. It's basically thanks for confetti cannon. It's basically that when you write the stuff, you're like, cool, how many different ways can I say the same processes that were used straight up on okay, using EEG and measuring these ERPs, this number of participants were asked to do blah. You can't really rephrase that many ways. It's just a fact. Or for example, the where theory of mind is located in the brain. You can't change the locations in the brain, and you can really only use the word located, found in, contains the areas so many times. It's basically the exact same stuff. It comes to a point where I'm like, there is the concept of plagiarism. It's not black and white. How much does something need to be changed to be valid, and how much can you change something before it just becomes straight up false or just not an accurate or good way of describing something? And I feel like for the most part, people can tell, on every extreme, people can tell. Like if something's word for word copy, like if it's something close to like the H bomber guy stuff like that, that's first of all opinion pieces. When you're copying someone's opinion, that's really obviously plagiarism. Like that's there's no fights about that. Like if it's a person's opinion and you take the same sentences they have and you don't use them to form your own opinion, that's plagiarism. But if it's literal straight up facts, like 2 + 2 is 4, am I plagiarizing if I write that in the exact same way with those exact same words? Not really. I'm stating a fact, but I still feel like there are these facts that are basically the exact same concept of 2 + 2 = 4, because it's just a statement of a fact, but you still have to cite a source. But like if you put it in a quote, it's like I could put it in a quote, but it feels really weird to put 2 + 2 = 4, quote Albert Einstein or something, because it's literally just a fact. Like sometimes I even wonder if some of these things, do I have to cite a source for every single time I write a fact that's in so many different places? And usually I just go by the idea of if I'm not sure and if I'm stating any kind of fact, I just find any source that says this thing ever and I'll just put it in there. But like, I don't know. I don't like writing these kind of essays. I much prefer essays about opinions, essays about thoughts and feelings and stuff like that. I prefer prose. Well, 2 + 2 is, I mean, is a fact. It's provable. It's both things. Like that's what a fact is. A fact is something that has the proof behind it. That's my understanding of fact, and that's how at least everyone I know uses the word fact. So, but yes, the entire concept of coding and like, oh, is it stealing someone's code if you do it the exact same way? Well, not necessarily, but yeah, no, code doesn't seem to be copyrighted unless like you're copyrighting the architecture and idea of something, but also it's not copied if it's something that's in a tutorial. You don't really need to cite someone who does stuff like that. I don't know what's going to happen with like code like that in the future. I definitely have a lot of things that are just like, oh yeah, Stack Overflow, boop, boop, works, you know? Because like there just isn't another way to do it a lot of the times too. Which is also why it's just like, oh, I have to write my code a slightly different way because someone already did it like this once. It's like, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not, that's not how code works at all. Code specifically, you do not want to reinvent the wheel. That's like the whole point. Man, and yet sometimes I feel like I do have to reinvent the wheel. But anyways, so to continue with the game, now that I've had a little, as is tradition, for our whole, for this game, I have gone on a small rant for unrelated things already. Look forward to more soon. I never would have guessed I'd end up tangled in politics. Me neither. But I'll use this opportunity to stop complaining and start doing. You're about to become someone's Adana, aren't you? I want to think I'll handle things with justice, but yeah, you never know who you're about to piss off. Okay, then what do you need me to do? What do you mean? For example, do you want me to deliver a letter to summon Dahlia and Jasmine to let them hear about your final stance? Ooh, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's better that they don't find out. It's probably better. It'd be like, hey, I thought about it and I changed my mind. I'm running also. This is gonna be fun. And by fun, it's wait, why is there no music? Is it just me or is there literally no music right now? Hello? Did I like run out of music? I will. I'm glad you let Patricia know about me. You don't have to worry, she's loyal. Yeah, I'm not hearing any music. Let me double check. Do I need a restart? That would be so dumb. I'm not worried, on the contrary. I'm eager to team up with her. Team up? Come on, you have a behemoth on your side and you were planning on not using me during campaign? Just let your sister know about my skills. I'm sure she'll put them to good use. Can spy on opponents, dig up some dirt, spin the cosmic wheel a bit in our favor, you know? Okay, I guess that's a great resource, but don't do anything without our approval. Absolutely. May not look like it, but I'm a team player. Yeah, sure. I think I'm gonna lay down for a while now. I need some rest before facing the mess I've gotten myself into. Plus, I should bring Greth up to speed. Guess she's in this mess by association now, too. Talk to you later. TTYL. Welcome back, Kira. Okay, yeah, I don't know what's going on, but this game is like, it doesn't have music anymore. So I'm gonna try to fix that because I'd like to have music. See, now it's playing. That's super weird. Might have to just speed run through what I did. Yep. Speed, 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 speed. Da 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 da. It's okay. I remember everything I said. So I'm just going to talk over me doing exactly this thing, especially because I don't have to repeat, luckily, my personal rant on life. So, wow, that was so much faster. Yeah, no, there's just no sound. There's no more music. Who was that? Sounded pretty intense. My sister Patricia came by. What, you didn't think to introduce me? I do want you to meet her, but the situation was too tense to bring you up. She's coming back in a bit, so we'll do the introductions later. Okay, if I summon a person and there's still no music and it's saved, I'm gonna quit the whole game and turn it back on just because, like, I gotta triple check because I love the music in this game. Also, I just noticed. Okay, look where my jelly head was hiding. My jelly head was hiding that there are 2 Greths. There's one here, and there's one here. 2 Greths. Greth in superposition. Just, think about that. If you desire a rant on life, you'll just have to watch this on YouTube from the beginning. Though it's I can't repeat. That's how it rolls. Okay, cool. Is everything all right? My sister is dead set on turning me into the next leader of our coven. Oh, wow. Wow. She believes I could do a lot of good for the coven with my cards. Well, that's a fabulous idea, provided you're fine with it, babe. And not only because of your cards, you're smart and caring, you've only had this new deck for a few weeks, and you've already helped a lot of people, myself included. It'd be great to have someone so kind-hearted and powerful as you at the helm for a change. Not as selfless as you think. I'm an egoist. I'm full of wrath. I'm a mess. Aren't we all, though? The important thing is that you can overcome all that. What matters most, you do good. I don't know. Let me help you. I can work with a team, help move the campaign. That'd be great. I'd feel stronger with you on my side. Can I ask you to keep me in check if I lose my way? I still have so many feelings about this, but I just got to roll with it. One of the things that scares me the most about going into politics is the idea of losing myself to ambition, crossing a line I shouldn't. I don't know. You can count on me. Look, I've come up with a mission for you already. Whenever you need. Hold me tight, please. You got it. Like, the sound is there, but there's no music. You dream about. You are old and surrounded by 11 kids. They're all orphans from different planets that you decided to adopt. You're teaching them to play a very complex board game about witchcraft. All of them fall asleep mid-explanation, and you feel disappointed. 11 is a lot. Also, no more superposition Greth. Yeah, there's no... Alright, we're gonna quit the game. Because it just saved. So we're gonna quit. Even though this music is playing, for some reason other music's not. So we're just gonna... Why do I have to watch the intro to close the game again? Okay. Dun dun dun. Tiny break. Tiny break. As we reload the game, nothing bad happened except for the loss of sound, which is pretty bad, I guess. But hey, everything's looking good, looking good. See, it's already coming back. Hopefully the music comes back with it. Welcome back, music. That doesn't prove anything, though. Does this part of the game just not have music? That might just be the case. I'm not going to try to fix it anymore. I'm just going to leave it as it is and hope for the best, because it did like a ding. And now it's just silence, which is kind of creepy, not going to lie. Dear Fortuna, you wanted to see us, right? I'd love a get-together before the race starts. Let me know when it's a good time and I'll pick up Dolly and come over to your place. Let's do it. This is totally gonna be fun. See, now music is playing. I guess I should have just waited. But it was really suspicious that there was no music. So I don't regret anything. Thanks for coming. It's been centuries since we got the three of us together. I don't know why we don't do this, like, I don't know, right away. What's up, witches? And you bet, magic life can get so chaotic. Sometimes we just forget to enjoy it. Yeah, it makes me so happy to see the two of you together. Tell me about some adventure I missed. ADHD and waiting. I'm a less than a... That's true. I literally would never describe myself as a patient person. It's probably, I guess I would say my biggest weakness. Just in general, for like one of those, like, that's never gonna get better. And it does have its upside, so maybe, or microphone. Maybe that's one day when I go to a job interview, they'll be like, what's your greatest weakness? Like, cause you always say like perfectionism. And like, Jesus, ooh, hold on. Surprise cough out of literal nowhere. And you always say like, oh, but like, that's actually true. So I would be saying perfectionism, but I would probably say perfectionism and lack of patience, because honestly, you can spin those into good things pretty easily. I would say, yeah, I just have difficulty waiting for things, difficulty with patience, and difficulty with perfectionism, because I want everything to always be perfect. Because flaws are bad. Mostly because they bug me, because I can't not see them. Impatient perfectionism is, yeah, that's a pretty brutal combo. It's very bad for day-to-day life, but also, again, has upsides, but you kind of have to have them mostly individually for them to continue to have upsides. Otherwise, it gets like spicy. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, are you impatient and also you want everything to be perfect? Well, sometimes that means that you don't have the patience to make something perfect, and instead you just give up and never show anyone ever, and you throw the project away. Or sometimes it means you don't start the project because your idea and your plans for it aren't perfect yet, or because you feel like you should be better and you should know better before you do the thing, so you get stuck in tutorial hell, constantly looking stuff up over and over and over until you feel like you still know nothing and you haven't actually done anything, so you can't show anyone anything. And unfortunately, learning and tutorials have no proof until you make something that shows that you've done a thing. So no matter how much time and effort you spend into learning something, unless you can show it, it just looks like nothing to other people. So that's a thing. Though sometimes it goes in a positive direction where you're impatient, but you have perfectionism, and the impatience actually can contrast it in a nice way where you have perfectionism, but you're really tired of this project and you're really ready to be done with it and you can't handle it anymore. So your impatience overcomes the perfectionism and you are able to do a good enough. There's also the thing where with perfectionism, you can overcome the impatience by the exact opposite thing. Yes. I know you're not supposed to talk about your projects, it's a thing, but here's the thing, if I don't talk about my projects to anyone about anything, I can't get feedback on them, and that's also a problem. So yes, I have that problem as well. There is also the thing with, for me, it kind of is the opposite, where if I tell someone about a project and I tell someone that that's what I want to do and I'm working on it, then yes, I do get the downside, but I also get the upside of now these people think I'm working on the thing, so now I really even more should work on the thing for realsies. Because if I don't tell anyone about a project I'm doing, it's super easy to just give it up and get rid of it entirely because I never told anyone I was doing it. So like, no one will even know I gave up. Now I have peer pressure to complete it. So I feel like literally I have all the downsides of every aspect of that psychology working against me. Yeah, like I feel like it really depends on each thing. I feel like it depends on small things. Like for example, you probably shouldn't, if you're like, oh, I'm trying to start a new habit of doing X, Y, or Z every day. Like that's not something that requires feedback. That's something that it's better to like do and have as a thing for a while and then be like, oh yeah, I've been doing this for a while and it's working for me. Like, it's kind of why like a lot of New Year's resolutions don't work out, especially because if you tell a bunch of people, oh, I'd like to do this thing, you get the weird dopamine from like, oh, I've already done this thing because I've told people that I'm gonna do the thing, and then you just don't. Yeah. But at the same time, if I want to, like, for example, when I wanted to go to the gym, it wasn't a New Year's resolution. It was just like actually for real. Like, I'd been talking about it to this person for a while, being like, hey, we should go to the gym and do this thing. She was like, yeah, we totally should. But it always seemed like a, you know, we'll get there. But at the same time, when I found, I was like, okay, actually for reals, next month, let's do it. Next month happened to be January because it was December and everything was absolutely crazy and we couldn't just immediately start. So, okay, cool. Now it looks like a New Year's resolution, but at the same time, now that I'm like making specifics, like I'm like, cool, as soon as we get back from holiday stuff, as soon as we're both back in town, as soon as everything's ready, as soon as that stuff, let's just go. Let's pick a gym and let us go. And every single day, if we're not doing it, we'll try to schedule it for the next day, basically. So that I couldn't have just like not told her and then be like, surprise, we're going to the gym tomorrow. Like, that's not how that works. So I feel like anytime that there's like a hard rule set for something, and as much as I love hard rules, I love coming up with rules that describe large amounts of things and you can just apply without worrying about exceptions, or you can apply and say, actually, this still works even with the exceptions. I love those, but so much of the time, if they turn it into a black and white thing, it doesn't work. The only rules I have found that you can apply to everything are rules that are literally have room for interpretation and gray values. For example, when I was younger, I had to defend to my family why I was atheist, why I no longer believed, which part of me becoming the black sheep of my family was being the only non-believer, which was a problem. And the biggest thing was my dad would be like, well, what's your moral code? Because you can't have a moral code without God. I'm like, I super duper can. He's like, well, you got to explain it. So I had to think about it for a really long time. I came up with a simple rule that I think works still for me. But the whole reason it works is because it has gray area. It's basically like, just always do your best to do the least evil. And that's it. Just try to do the least harm that you can. And it's a very simple rule that you can apply to most everything. And then there's still room for interpretation. Like, what does it mean, the least harm? The least harm to the least number of people, or the least harm in terms of like intensity, like how do you define harm, etc. Exactly, like, no, it should not come at your own cost necessarily either. Like, you have to include yourself in part of that least harm. And yeah, I'm gonna use the word harm instead of evil because the definition of evil is unfortunately also usually very Christian, so harm is probably an easier phrasing. And you need to be counted as part of that own equation in terms of determining like what is the least harm that can be done to the least amount of people. And then it's still like, you're gonna do your best with what you have in the moment. And it's gonna be based on your own perspective and other people's perspective, etc. Yeah, I mean, evil sounds really cool, but yeah, exactly. Evil is like a loaded term, specific way. In retro gaming class, ping-ponging stuff with, yep, yeah, the amount of times I have a conversation with someone and things just click, and then I'm just like, hey, you have ADHD? And they're like, yeah, how'd you know? And they like immediately figure it out too, that the reason that we're clicking on a conversational level is we both have ADHD. It was just like, oh my god, you too? And it's just like the Spider-Mans pointing at each other. It's that meme. Which I love that we reached a point in our society where I can literally describe a meme, and as long as I describe it the same way everyone else describes it, I can describe a feeling, a mood, a concept, and it gets us closer to that weird episode of Star Trek with like where they only spoke in idioms and metaphors like exclusively, and language can never go to that degree, but like it did make a good point of how much of language is idioms and metaphors based on context that comes from culture and society and just the common experience of humanity as a whole. But like the fact that the internet culture is effectively pretty global. So that Star Trek episode, it's in New Generations, Star Trek New Generations, and it's like there are memes about it on the internet. I really wish I could remember the name of the episode or even one of the quotes, but I honestly think if you type Star Trek episode where aliens only speak in idioms, it'll probably work. Because basically I can look for, I don't know if I can find the entire episode. It's an entire episode, but I can probably find a scene from it, because like the entire purpose of the episode was that their universal translators weren't working because of the type of language was so alien that it couldn't fully translate, which also brings into the concept of like, what does the universal translator actually do? Why can't it translate some of these things? Which there's even more questions about why it doesn't translate some certain things that are in, Klingon, for example. And also why, how the translations work, like translations versus localization. It's pretty cool. So yeah, maybe I'll find it, maybe someone else will find it, but if you don't know anything about it, honestly, it's great. Actually, Star Trek, despite, obviously being much older, and I've never seen the original series, and I can't recommend the original series because it has definitely problems from being a product of its time. Star Trek New Generations and Deep Space Nine, but especially New Generations, holds a really special place in my heart, not only because I watched all of it while like working on like not personal projects, like projects for stuff like chainmail and props and like freelance art and that kind of thing, like back when I was basically just doing like freelance art stuff. And so I just had it playing in the background for the most part, because like you're not really, I don't know, it's like two different parts of your brain that are working, so you can totally do both, and it actually like puts me into this beautiful zen mode where I can absolutely do both, and it's fantastic. I love it. It honestly is still like, I'd never seen a series like that before. I'd never seen a series that like literally just like, it's literally just meant to be like constant psychological and like societal and cultural questions. Like the aliens literally only exist as a mirror to ourselves. Like the only reason that Star Trek uses aliens is that way when it has discussions about racism, it's never using a real race, it's never using that stuff, but it's able to like make a representation of things that normal humans go through by showing like, oh, here's what it looks like in a slightly different perspective that allows you to see it closer to how, like, what it really is. So plus it's like Star Trek New Generations was also just like straight up amazing when it comes to like representation of like women and people of color, where it's just like they were just there. Like no one mentioned stuff about it. It wasn't a thing. They were just there and treated with respect, and they were just people like every other people. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved that, and that was my favorite. It's my favorite way to have like, especially representation for women, where it's like it's just it's not a thing. It just is. It's just a normal part of the world. So, well, I guess I went on a surprise. We've gone back so quickly to another thing. How many lines of dialogue have we gone through? That's New Generations. Picard was amazing. That's why it's still my favorite. It's like literally, it's amazing. Like Deep Space Nine is also good, but it's very, very, very different because it has an overarching story instead of always being Monster of the Week. There is some overarching stuff that happens in New Generations, but for the most part, not really. So you can kind of watch stuff in any order. It's obviously better if you do it at least by the season, because some of the if a character comes back, you'll understand even more so why it's important that there's a character that comes back, like Q, for example. Oh boy, Q is a crazy concept, but there is just, oh man, there's just so many memes and so much stuff on the internet that just makes me so happy I watch Star Trek. And like the fact that it's like philosophical, political, cultural, etc. conversations about the world is why I like it more than Star Wars, which Star Wars is fun. Star Wars is very fun, but it's not like something I could have like discourse about humanity on. Awakened mage stuff. I don't think I would put it in that box. I don't think I would necessarily put it in that box. Like, I kind of get what you're going for, but Q is a different kind of metaphor. So that's my personal opinion there. Now I want to talk to people about Star Trek more one day. One day I'll find someone else who's seen it. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, Star Wars is a totally different kind of world. And it's, again, it's fun. It's interesting. It's realistic, but I prefer the like people actively trying to like do their best and trying to be good and trying to make positive change, and when that fails and what that's like, versus people trying to fight against just an unjust and crazy system, because I've seen so much of that, but I see very few like, hey, we kind of have like some aspects of utopia, how can we help other people, and what kind of problems do we have even when so many things are already right, when so many things are already solid, like post-scarcity, like everyone can get whatever kind of food they want, people can do, like, people don't have to worry about money or housing or any of that stuff, and anyone that goes on the ship is 100% like choosing to go that route. It still doesn't mean people are perfect, it absolutely never will, because people are always flawed, but that's the whole point. But it's still the point of like people trying to be good and people trying to do their best. And I find that way more inspiring and uplifting, because I try to be my best. And I mess up. And I still keep trying. Alright, so adventures I missed. I took Jasmine hunting once. What, really? Oh my, she did. And never again, I tell you. Jasmine really would make a fine Daemon hunter. That sand dweller didn't stand a chance. Jasmine planted some magical seeds into the dunes, and in a matter of minutes, boom! A big fucking vine emerged out of the white sand, strangling the Daemon. It was horrible. I only had to slice that fucker's throat. A stench of blood. I don't know how you do it, Talia. Then she spent the whole evening building a grave for the worm. It was beautiful though, wasn't it? I would have loved to have been there. I missed you so much. Me too. My first order of business will be to ban fucking exiles so we can all go on adventures again. Are you nervous about the elections? You can't imagine. I'm cool, more excited than anything. On the one hand, I'm not worried because whoever wins in the end, the Coven is going to be well looked after. On the other hand, I want what's best for the Coven, and I truly believe my program is the safest bet. It's really good you believe in your own program. It's in fact necessary. I was a teenage exocolonist. This isn't ringing any bells for me. I haven't heard of this one. If you have a link to something, perhaps post that on the Discord, especially if it's something on Steam. It'd be interesting to take a look at. Just to be clear, I do think you'd make for a lovely leader, but playing it safe is the death of progress, Jasmine. But aren't we all well already? We just need to iron out Adonis' more abusive politics and put some love into the community. That's because the status quo benefits you. Oh, I love this discourse so much. This is so reminiscent of the things I hear constantly. Think about all the novices and all the witches that don't fit into that orderly vision, myself included. My plan is not to start a revolution, but to level the playing field. It's not fair that power is held by the eldest. Or maybe they should not all be part of exactly the same coven. Maybe they have totally different ideas about how things should be, and there should be 3 covens. And honestly, I could have a coven, these 2 could have a coven, and the coven would technically be destroyed, but everyone could be under the leadership that they think fits them best. And that's how it should really work, because the concept of like these big conglomerations of power almost always goes poorly, because the bigger a group of people is, the less well represented each person is. It literally dilutes the pool. There should be much smaller groups of people, especially if they're able to sustain themselves. And they are immortal witches. I struggle to see how they would have difficulty with this. It's not even rationalization, it just makes perfect sense that their coven is completely flawed from the beginning. It needs to be broken out. It's too big. It's too big to fail. No, it's exactly big enough that it must fail. Novices need to be guided, though. Think about this, when we just ascended, we weren't in any shape to be making important decisions. I don't know about that. Each has its own setbacks. What do you think, Fortuna? Well, about that, I guess it's time to make my stance clear. Running for leader myself. What? Oh my, but aren't you exiled? Trisha's gonna help me run the campaign. In fact, it was her who practically forced me into this venture. Okay, and what's your deal? I'm not really sure yet. We still have to define our program. But my sister is dead set on having my divination at the helm of the new government. That'd be quite an ass out, all right. Have you really thought this through? I doubt a criminal has much chance at leadership. Ooh. Oh, interesting snapback there. Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying, that like these are your closest friends. That was some shade she's throwing at you. Whoa, that's a bit strong. I'm not a criminal, Jasmine. Part of the plan to becoming the next leader is to eradicate unfair punishments. So you actually wanted to meet us to declare war, huh? Not war, I just thought it'd be proper to let you know firsthand. I just really think that no matter who wins, the future's bright. Yeah, that's what I like to think. But the stress of competing against you two is a bit overwhelming. Why don't we use this opportunity to promise that no matter what, we'll still be friends after the race is Ooh, we'll see. No promises needed, never had a doubt about it. Likewise, we will always be friends. Thanks, don't know what I'd do if I lost you. We'll see. We will see. Really can't trust people when they deal with politics. Things get spicy always. You won't. I love you. Love you too. I love you 3. Fuck off. Okay, next few weeks are about to get pretty busy. Better leave and start preparing my knives. Figuratively speaking, I understand. No, literally, I'm a daggersmith, that's what I do. No need to stab anyone, though. I hope. Okay, you two take care. Okay, see you soon. Take care, both of you. Bye. Thanks for coming. There they go, flying off into the sunset. Didn't get to do any readings. Ooh, turtle. Patrish! Yo, everything's set to go. Get your shit in order because it's about to get real. Let me know when you're ready. We'll review the program and campaign plan. I'm ready. How are you? Ready. Focused. Good. Hold on to that fuel. Did you meet with Dahlia and Jasmine? Yeah, I did. How did they take it? I mean, they didn't show it, but I know they weren't happy. It's only natural. They both wanted you on their side because they know how fundamental your talents are for this campaign. I'm sure they're terrified now they know you're running against them. I don't know. They're way more prepared than me. They're just bothered about the nuisance. Can't really be that naive. If we play our cards right, we're gonna sweep the polls. Maybe. Okay. Well, allow me to give you a rundown of what's ahead. We have to define a program and a plan. First, we'll analyze our opponents and I'll interview to see where we stand on the main issues. Then we'll sketch and review a program. Once we get something solid, we'll form a team and schedule some campaign actions to get the ball rolling. The date for the election Congress hasn't been decided yet, but we're against the clock as of now. All clear? Yep. Good. First of all, did someone tell you about the 5 pillars of Coven? You know, judgment, law enforcement, forbidden arts, mortal affairs, and wish duties. Do you need me to explain them to you? Nah, I know. You can skip the explanation. Good, let's get started dissecting our rivals then. What do you want to start with?
You choose. Alright, Dahlia then. Dahlia's not from Earth. On our home planet, politics have evolved and twisted more than anywhere else in the explored universe. She comes from the demonic desert lands, where matriarchy-based warlordism, and this makes so much sense now. Literally, I understand her already so much more. She's also a Klingon, which is great. Even nowadays, I'm not saying to underestimate her, but we can expect her to not be well prepared to navigate the intricacies of a political campaign. On the other hand, Dahlia's politics seem very different from her homeworld. From what I gathered, her focus seems to be collectivizing the Coven's duties and responsibilities, distributing the Coven's power horizontally. Level the playing field is practically her slogan. Whoa, how'd you manage to get all that info in so little time? I'm an archivist, and this is all public domain, no sweat. Now focus. Her program to achieve is this: judgment by referendum. Dahlia argues in a community this compact, we should have to account for every member's input regardless of their background or preparation. That's obviously not a good idea. Oh, you guys can't even see it. It's over there. It's fine. You know what I might do? I'll just turn off the chat for a second. Just while we're doing this. Or I could move it. I could just through it. Perfect. We'll move it back in a moment. I need to move it more. Alright, let's try that. Maybe it'll just stay there for a while. It's kind of not actually in the way of anything. Hey! Long time no see, Bulldog. Great to see you. Oh my gosh. Welcome, welcome. We're here to talk politics. Should dialogue fail, she wants to leave the matter in the hands of the arbitrage office. Yeah, I don't like that either. Politics, great job. Oh, it is. It really is. It's pending. It is for the game. For the game, there's no real life stakes, so it's very fun to discuss. Her point being that we don't need to police ourselves when we already have the magical pact. Forbidden arts allow free access to any kind of magic and control them through education, not banning. Cut all ties with mortals. That's dumb. I don't think we should do that. We're too privileged to messing with people's lives. She thinks we should leave them be and focus on the cosmic and the magical. Magical tax. Have every member of the Coven share a percentage of their magic output to pool resources for the benefit of the clan. And finally, she believes we should scatter Adana's remains so more witches can ascend and our Coven can become more diverse. I honestly still think we should scatter those. That's something I agree with. As you can see, Dahlia is betting on a kind-hearted community that requires goodwill to work. Almost utopic, I must say. What do you think's the best strategy to undermine her program? Let's see. Point out the failure of communist honor. Oh, I'm gonna put this back. That's pretty funny that they put that. I don't think they need to do that. Let's see. Faith in good intentions is ridiculous. I really want to know many of these words. I mean, a lot of it's based on how the witches work, but for the most part, you can think about it as we're kind of we're running for office against two people, one of who is very much a strong conservative, and the other who is a strong. Yeah, actually, she's kind of socialist, communist. She really believes that more stuff happen, and it's I want to be the third person who's in between the two and actually can pick the good parts of both as best as I can. Yeah. So, unfortunately, I don't want any of these. What I wanted to focus on specifically was giving too much power to the magical arbitrage office. That's where I would first focus my pinpoints. I would absolutely pinpoint, and I'm honestly closer to the side of Dahlia than to Jasmine, but there's a couple of big problems in here. Don't just give the magical police more power. That's such a terrible idea. Yeah, let's like, I believe people are good, but I believe that people are good so long as it makes sense under the system. I think this is just as good as I can get for choices, because the other ones don't really quite... Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. Good one. The ideal community she wants to paint a picture of isn't a reality. Jasmine does Leslie. You're right. She's not actually like super hardcore conservative, but I absolutely, like, honestly, the biggest thing of hers I disagree with is eating a Donna and consolidating the power to the witches who currently exist, because I absolutely do believe that more witches generally more better, and more covens more better. You just get, like, diversity is good. Okay, let's capitalize on your intimate knowledge about your rival. What would you say is Dahlia's strongest point? Popular among young witches, that's not exclusively true. Overwhelming charisma and the confidence she projects. I mean... I think, because, like, there's a lot of these that are really good, and this one kind of has 2 points, so I kind of want to pick that one. But also, people do want to change what it was, how things were before. I'm gonna go with that, actually. It sounds fun. She embodies winds of change. Anyone fed up with Adana's abuse is likely to support Dahlia. Good point. And I don't think it'll pay to be even more radical than her. Maybe your best bet would be to offer change, but with less risk. Some middle ground. Yeah, that's what I've been saying. If we do it, it'll paint us as the smartest choice. Alright, what about her weaknesses? What is Dahlia's most critical flaw? Green, very radical, lacks diplomacy. Easy to trick. Oh, that's so mean. I would actually have to go with the amount of radical, because that's kind of the issue, is that, like, she's like, yeah, absolutely, let's change 100% of everything because nothing works. And I'm like, yeah, sure, but no. She forged metal, or yes, she makes, well, not even just metal, like, she makes magical daggers. Everyone here is an immortal witch. They're basically, like, practically demigods. And so we're dealing with the leader of our coven dying, and we have to, well, I guess come up with a better political situation with that. Want to stab the hunger out of someone? Yep. Absolutely can. As crazy as that sounds. It's perfect. That trait can be the ruin of a candidate. We attack her pride, lead her to appear even more radical than she is in front of the eyes of the coven. Scare off her supporters. Is this really necessary? It's your call, but we don't exploit your opponent's flaws. It'll make it less likely for you to become the next leader. Politics are ugly, I know. But also, let me tell you, you should expect the same from your rivals. Friends or not, I'm sure they won't be pulling any punches. Be ready. I'm already regretting this. Sure. Whatever, I'll handle it. Okay, now to Jasmine. Yeah. Jasmine was born in a small English town during the Industrial Revolution circa 1800. That also tracks very much for her. That puts her in a cultural sweet spot for amassing the sympathies of the coven. She's a young witch in the eyes of the eldest, medieval, and ancient witches, but not so alien as us contemporary witches with our world wars, TV, internet, and all those other global lunacies. Jasmine gets along with us, but is also part of the last decent generation according to the most conservative witches. Her politics are a liberal revision of Adana's, removing the most tyrannical mechanisms by reducing punishment and responsibilities. Of course, thank you so much for being here, 6. Have fun at work. Bye. You can stab the hunger into... Oh yeah, you could definitely stab hunger into someone. In fact, it's probably easier than stabbing it out of them. But, you know, we'd have to ask about that one. Oh, a hydrate. Yes, I will have a hydrate. Thank you very much. I will drink more of this delicious chamomile tea. maintain the status quo, but give more room for individualism and personal enterprise, free from so many duties and the fear of failure. Her program to achieve is this.
Okay. This back in the middle for a little bit.
Nice that it's very movable. That is the quorum of the five wisest. That is the sweetest candy of her program for the old lumps. Expulsion after many warnings. Enforcement will work with a system of strikes. She hasn't specified how many, but should a witch accumulate enough warnings, she will be expelled from the coven. Way less radical than exile, and the worst case scenario is the freedom to start anew elsewhere. Yeah, I actually think that's totally reasonable. Honestly, expulsion is the best way to handle things. Like, it's basically like, if you're a part of a community and you don't act according to how the community has decided they want to act, then you don't get to be a part of the community anymore. Like, I have to imagine, like, even in real life, that was probably the original idea of, like, prison and jail and such. It's literally like, you are not abiding by the laws of the community. You cannot be a part of the community and benefit from the benefits of the community. And you can't just kick them out of the country, because that's a whole different song and dance. And obviously there'd have to be, like, a level of... we won't get into that. But the idea here is that for these immortal witches, they absolutely have other places they can go. There are other covens, and there absolutely should be even more covens than this big one who just keeps seeming to, like, conglomerate a bunch of new people. Like, this seems like a great idea. Regarding forbidden arts, she won't change a thing. Anything deemed dangerous by the eldest witches will be banned. Yeah, I don't agree with that. Like, strictly banning things is not really a great way to go about it. And for mortal affairs, Jasmine proposes a model of protection and guidance. Especially because, like, the only thing that, like, the problem is I don't even know what the... Yeah, exile was... I'm sure exile was way more common, and it was probably a better overall solution. The problem is now we live in a kind of society where exiling people is not only significantly harder, but has way more, like, consequences. And we can't just throw our problems to someone else necessarily, because, yeah, basically now instead we're expected to take care of our own problems, which is effectively exile, but without actually having to leave. Yeah, not specifying the number of strikes is also a little sus. It's especially because it's like, how many warnings? Is there a difference of severity of warning? Like, are there, like, super warnings? And, like, who's deciding? If the five witches are the ones deciding all the warnings, they still have, like, all the power, you know? Like, that's the problem. I don't know what the forbidden arts are about. If the forbidden arts specifically are things that, like, threaten other people, then banning them seems like a pretty good idea. But, like, the idea that, like, but, like, the fact that forbidden art was also, like, dealing with behemoths, like, we did a forbidden art by summoning behemoth, so did Greth. Like, and honestly, though, I think behemoths probably should definitely be someone we work with, and it's also something we predicted would happen, so I think that that's something that should probably, we're gonna have to go with education on that one. I feel like it's education and then banning things that are literally exist only for hurting other people. It's a little difficult, because, like, I feel like it should just be a lot more nuance there. Yeah, what should we protect them from? Guess that's to be determined by the quorum of the eldest. Exactly. Lastly, for witch duties, she proposes a policy of no vigilance. Jasmine argues we should trust every sister that will have the covenant's interest in mind, and there's no need to evaluate or impose any duties on any members. Which is also not, like, whatever, it seems pretty much fine, but then, like, kind of what's the point of the coven if people aren't forced to work together? What's the point of any of this? I don't know. Yeah, exactly. What is banning might be the way to go, but what gets to be counted as forbidden arts? I 100% agree with you. Jasmine wants the coven to devour Donna's corpse so we all become more powerful. Take a minute to interiorize. That's a word I've never heard before in my life. Like, internalize internalize makes much more sense. I mean, I'm glad we're making up words sometimes, but let's go with internalize here. Sure. Done? Done. Perfect. So tell me now, what do you think is the best strategy to undermine her program? Dun. Wow. Tradition and coven culture. Wow, that's awful. Interiorize. I would still say internalize. Even if interiorize exists as a word, I have never heard anyone ever in my entire life use it. So I still wouldn't use the word even if it exists in the dictionary. Yeah, let's say they benefit the powerful and forsake the novices, because that's absolutely true. Interesting. If we adopt this strategy, we may polarize the coven's opinion. But in the long run, we could gather the support of the young and weak, plus the support of the most compassionate elders. Might do the trick. Good, good. Now to assess the candidate herself. Let's use your privileged info on Jasmine. What would you say is her strongest point? Honestly, her apparent innocence and frailty, a pillar of the community. She's extremely intelligent and manipulative. Oh my god. I mean, she is a pillar of the community. She's done good things, a lot of stuff, etc. So I would say her charming mother-like aura. It's like one of the things. Right. A mother figure could well become the prom queen of this race. Many voters decide based on instinct rather than analysis, and Jasmine's persona promises to be an excellent caretaker for the lot of us. Internalize make, yeah. Them be my besties, right? You can say some terrible things about your best friends. It's crazy. It's been being open to shown the world via magic. Yep. Yep. Now to her flaws. What would you say is her weakest point? It's kind of none of these. I think this is the closest one to it. Right? Like, I mean, like there's a version of that where she's too soft and isn't considering like some of the downsides of her own things, and she isn't really, but at the same time I wouldn't say so. I'm gonna go with vanity here. So if we manage to dig up some dirt on her, we're sure to break her composure. It'd be good to do some investigating, see if we can find something to throw off her game. Good to know. I feel so bad doing this. Toughen up, Fortuna. Her advisors will be doing the same about you, no doubt. Plus, these are emergency resources. If we play our cards right, we can hope for a clean victory. Oh my gosh, I just realized we're fighting against them. Did we tell either of them about the behemoth? We definitely didn't tell Jasmine. We 1000% did not tell Jasmine. Did we tell Dahlia? I don't think so, but I don't know. We did tell Greth, but that's fine. Okay, cool. We didn't tell them. This is very important for the future. All right, focus on bringing your best game, and I won't have to push any ugly buttons. Talk about pressure. All right, now for the third candidate. What? There's more? Of course. No one told you. No, who is it? No one truly thinks she poses any threat to Dahlia or Jasmine. She is a candidate nonetheless. We should study her. I believe this dark horse has a chance of surprising us all. Okay, so there's actually another one. Tell me who it is. Bressa, the historian witch. The eldest witch in our coven. She precedes even Adana. Bressa is originally from Earth, but ascended way before humanity even started writing. She has an infallible memory. All events get registered inside her tree ring. She's a tree. Oh, I love that. Yes, this game is very choices matter, I would say. Kinda. No, I would say very. They remember a lot. This game remembers a lot of things that you do. We've worked together many times at the Coven Archives. It's a never-ending enterprise to register all her knowledge on paper. The thing thing is that she's always played a secondary role in the coven, just supporting us with her wisdom. But apparently, Capressa isn't a fan of change and isn't happy with the direction Jasmine or Dahlia want to take the coven. So for the first time, she's running for leader. Oh boy, let's see what her things are about. Her program is easy to sum up. She wants to keep things exactly as Adana left them. Moreover, she advocates for preserving Adana's corpse as some sort of oracle, to keep using her as a channel to consult with the gods and to set the direction for the coven. Isn't that bad? Like, doesn't that mean that she doesn't get to actually rest in peace after dying? I don't know, that seems really weird. I didn't even know that was an option. That's definitely not an option I would pick. Wow, fuck Capressa. Yeah, fuck her program in any case. I know Capressa personally, and she's very kind and helpful. But yeah, no one wants the ghost of Adana to keep ruling over us. She has very few supporters, all among the eldest, but I wouldn't underestimate her. Capressa has a special mystical aura around her. Combined with her vast knowledge, she's sure to impress many voters during the campaign. Depending on how gruesome the race gets, we could scare some of the most conservative witches into switching sides from Jasmine to Capressa. See. As long as we don't underestimate Capressa and keep her in check, it should all be fine, though. Right, are you ready to start defining our program? Yeah, let's do it. Let's get it over with. Alright, I guess I'll leave the text in the middle for now, because it's probably going to show up over here again. I'll just even squeeze it further. Alright, yep, I knew it. There it is. We'll go over every point, assess our options, and make some choices. When we have a first draft, we can review any aspect to iron out the program. It's okay to borrow some ideas you might fancy from your rival, but try to make a program that's unique enough to be your own. Okay. First point, judgment. Right now, this is where our rivals stand. Jasmine wants to form a quorum, Dahlia wants to introduce judge by referendum, and keep Adana's runic judgment. What kind of judgment do you prefer? I literally would love to come up with my own, because I didn't really like any of them. Maybe there's another option to manage the coven, something fair but effective. What do you have in mind? To have a leadership that decides on everything without the community's input is problematic, but leaving all executive control in the hands of everyone will produce erratic results. I'm thinking of establishing some sort of ministries to compartmentalize power. Appoint experts in every matter to deal with the law, exploration, magic development, resource management, culture. Anything really. Set up as many ministries as necessary. All ministers will work along with the leader, but they would have the last word on their respect. Oh, this is great. Actually, I like this. Literally, I didn't specifically, I hate the idea of just like, I'm the oldest, so I get to say whatever. I love the idea of, hey, experts in this field get to have the final say on whether or not this is something that is valid or a good idea or whatever. That you could do horrible stuff to her, or no. How will these ministries be appointed? Do these positions rotate? What happens if someone more competent shows up? Is the minister replaced? I mean, it's really interesting on paper, and it's quite effective to have dedicated witches on every important matter, but this will probably breed many power struggles within the coven, fighting for these positions or trying to earn the favor of certain ministers. Let's see. Not that the other options don't have downsides, I'm just pointing what could go wrong with this idea. It's still worth giving a shot if you like it. I do. Yeah, basically, branches of government, departmentalized agencies. I'm a huge fan of it, especially for something that's this huge. Yeah, avoiding corruption in this scenario relies on having a capable leader. You are a capable leader. I think you're ready to deal with any kind of judgment system you decide to go with. So having said that, which do you like? Ministry. Let's go with the ministry system. Also, just like the more people you have in charge to make stuff, like, yeah, sure, people who are smaller on the totem pole might be easier to bribe, but if there's a lot of them, it's just harder for them all to be corrupt. So you got upsides, you get downsides. All right, to law enforcement. These are the stances. Jasmine wants a system of warnings leading to expulsion. I think that's extremely reasonable. I'm actually pretty down with that, but I'm curious if I come up with some other fourth option. Dahlia advocates for amicable agreement, which, no, I don't like that at all. Exile. Let's see what the new options are. I have troubled feelings towards punishment as a method of enforcing the law. It keeps law and order through fear, but we can't expect everyone to behave. Is there a way to make punishment constructive? Constructive how? Send bad witches to detention to do some magical studies? Not that, but hey, that might actually be an idea. What about community service? Elaborate. Instead of expelling members or, God forbid, sending them to exile, we could set up a system of assigning hours of community service depending on the severity of infraction. Tending other witches' gardens, harvesting magic for the coven, helping other explorers, whatever's needed. You could pull that off. I don't know if it'll look childish or weak in the eyes of some witches, but it'll benefit the community in the long run, definitely. Right. What type of law enforcement do you prefer? Yeah, it's basically the prison industry. That's the problem with that, is you kind of literally create an industry of free labor, effectively. I prefer exile because it's basically, I don't know, I like exile, I think, still, because it's basically like, cool, but there's the problem of, like, you don't know how many warnings and there's no way to make it right later, or maybe you can appeal it later. I think it'd be a good way to do it, but the idea of, like, you can, or sorry, not exile, expulsion, not exile. Being, like, expelled and just like, okay, you don't get to be a part of the coven, you're not a part of this community because you don't like actually doing what the community is all about. I mean, yeah. Be seen as weak though. Yeah, because community service just seems like, especially because it depends on, like, what are the laws that could be broken. For the most part, it's like, oh, so if you murder someone, you just have to. Yeah, but, like, do you want, like, again, let's say that the problem is murder. If there's no way to, like, expel someone ever and it's always community service, like, you want a murderer working in your garden, they're gonna get, like, basically expelled by just, like, people not wanting to associate with this person anyways. Still kind of pondering. Yeah, it's not about revenge, but at the same time, maybe they keep the corpses in the garden, seems sufficient. But that's terrible. What if they go and they murder the person that they're, like, I don't know. Like, I like the idea of, here's what I want. I want a combo. I want, instead of warnings, increasing community service until you get rid of people. Well, yeah, so the thing is that the ideally prison's goal should be rehabilitation, but there are some people who cannot be rehabilitated, and then in which case, and it's not about punishment. It should never be about punishment. It should always be about separation first. It should always be separation first and then rehabilitation whenever possible. But in this, we have neither. We have neither option. We can't, like, we can either have some warnings until people are separated, which then we get the separation part for people who get that, or we have community service forever, no matter how bad a crime you ever commit. Seems ridiculous. I literally want both of them and a thing in between, because there is a point and there is a number of, like, warnings or a certain amount of crime against the coven itself that would make you not fit to be a part of the coven. Plus, she did say that I probably shouldn't make everything be my own. Yeah, exactly. Expulsion is separation, community service is rehabilitation, so well, I mean, it's kind of rehabilitation. Are they really solving the problem if they're just like, oh, you did a bad thing, go plant some trees? Like, is that gonna stop them? It's reintegration, but it's not the rehabilitation. Like, what's gonna stop them from doing the thing again? Other than, like, oh, if I do this, I'm gonna have to go do work for someone else. Like, that's how people are gonna think about it. If you think about, like, the gamification of it, if they think, oh, no matter how bad a thing I have to do, I'm just gonna end up planting some plants later, whatever, I can just do all the bad things. Effectively, nothing is illegal. All of these are so extreme. We need a system that does all three. Distancing them, yeah. True. Maybe distancing them from the original reason, but we don't know. Like, was the original reason that they had a specific beef with someone or something? Barely reintegrate. I mean, but separation is necessary for some things. Like, for example, murder. If you murder another person, you are not fit to be a part of society because you are a literal danger to other people in society, unless we can rehabilitate to the degree of making sure that the reason you committed murder in the first place is not something that will happen again. And that's extremely hard to do, and obviously the prison systems we currently have do absolutely nothing about that. But this is, again, while we can compare these systems to the systems we have, these are immortal witches who, as far as I can tell, don't really have needs, they have wants. So if someone commits murder, it's probably not because they're afraid someone else is going, like, unless it's they're literally doing it in self-defense. Like, the reason for committing murder, the reason for stealing or whatever, it's not going to be because, oh, I was hungry, I was starving, it's for my family. None of those things can happen to these people. So all of those downsides, all of those reasons they could be doing that would literally just because they don't agree with the law. So that definitely changes things too. That actually definitely puts me even more towards the idea of expulsions. We could ponder it. Ponder. Just some solutions of letting witches accumulate strikes, and in the event they fail to behave, expelling them from the coven seems quite humane. It's not a bad idea, it doesn't rob anyone of their freedom, and the ultimate punish is like ultimate freedom, actually. If you don't fit in here, just find a coven to match your philosophy or stay independent. On the other hand, it's exploitable. Witches will be able to cross the line several times without any consequences before they gather too many strikes. Then they'll be trapped in behaving ideally or losing membership. In any case, it's not like they can just go kill another witch. Magical Pact stands above our warning system with what? What's the Magical Pact? That changes things a lot. The warnings allow for mischief, but I guess it's tolerable. Not all witches are going to be ill-willed. Type of the arbiters. Okay, but like the arbiters. Right, that's another thing. Like, you can be expelled. So yeah. So if you do the most severe stuff, you go to the arbiters. Like, even in a community service situation. See, that's the part I'm not really clear on. And I would love to actually ask Patricia, but she's an NPC. Because that would be perfect then. Because then you have a system that's like, cool, community service. And if you really mess up, yeah. Arbiters come in there. Okay. So, all right. So there's a magical pact that keeps you from doing the most severe things, but for the most part, community service would actually get a punishment right away. All those things, yeah. Yeah, let's ponder it, just because I know it's a bad idea, but still. Amicable resolution may seem naive, but what is there to police if we already have the arbitrage office? It's ideal and quite beautiful to trust in our sisters' abilities to coexist, but the arbitrage office really only covers the magical pact, Shouldn't we have a way to mediate more mundane conflicts within the coven? Arbitrage's office won't interfere in issues like who has rights over a newly discovered domain or who should be responsible for a common project gone wrong. What do we do in these cases? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There must be just some really specific rules in the arbiter's case where, like, these are rules, and if you break these specific rules, you are now an arbiter. I guess the Dahlia would leave that in the hands of a referendum. We could do the same with a proper organism, Minister of Justice, that deals with unresolvable conflicts on a case-by-case basis. It's getting closer and closer to mortal society, but sure, that was supposed to work for millennia on Earth. Anyway. I think I'm actually gonna go with community service because she made a really good point with the magical pact system, where, like, this is just for, like, minor, mundane conflicts. Like, expulsion makes sense. Like, I would still kind of want a little in-between where it's like, all right, community service, but then for things that are really bad, like if you reach enough problems with people that you need to, like, that you just clearly don't fit into the society, there should be expulsion. And then if you do something unthinkable, you go to arbitrage. Like, you got a 3-tier system, but this is as good as it's gonna get. Let's go with community service. Understood. Next is forbidden arts. These are the stances of our competitors. Jasmine and Compressa want to continue banning whatever they deem dangerous. Dahlia wants to give free access to any kind of magic, but to enforce education so we all know what we're dealing with. How do you want to go about dealing with it? We're definitely going to look at a new option first. There must be some middle ground between banning and free access. Some summonings or spells can even save lives. They could even protect us from major evils. There's much to achieve with the careful application of some forbidden arts, so what about extending permits? Interesting. Make it so a witch can apply to have access to certain spells or rituals, and if the coven deems the applicant's purpose and aptitude appropriate, allow them to make use of it. That is an interesting compromise. You know more about forbidden arts than I do, so I'll go with whatever you think is better. How do you want to go about dealing with this? Alright, ponder banning. Right? We, the people, believe that arbiters are overstepping. To appropriately handle this, we expel them? I mean, the arbiters aren't a part of our coven. They're specifically not a part of any coven. Yeah. So generally, they can't overstep their power because they don't have power and they have to follow really specific rules that are decided by every coven. Like, it's the magical police, but it's like the magical police that literally just like isn't a part of stuff. It's also for like inter-coven problems. Like, they're actually closer to, I guess, like the FBI, where they'll like investigate, like, because we had an arbiter come to us to investigate if our punishment was just. And she's like, it's totally not just, but we can't totally override the judgment, so you still have to stay here, but people can come visit you. Like, basically, they do, like, intercovenal affairs. So for the most part, they're fine, honestly. They seem pretty chill, but, like, giving them more power would be absolutely bad, which is why Dahlia's thing is just not a way to go. So far, the policy on banning dangerous arts has kept us safe. I know it's quite hypocritical to even consider banning since I summoned a behemoth myself, which is why we can't go that direction for a lot of reasons. But it's precisely because I've experienced that I'm aware of the implications of turning to forbidden magic. It's not so much a matter of the dangers of these arts, but them falling into the wrong hands. That's also dumb. Powerful or dangerous arts could be a great asset for the coven, but opening the doors to use them might lead to catastrophic consequences. I don't have strong opinions on this point, your call. Ponder free access education. I do like the ponders because, like, sometimes I get more information about the world. Like, I literally learned about, oh yeah, the magical pact, the arbiters take care of the worst stuff. You can't just kill someone. I'm like, oh, okay, that solves my problems. Kind of. It's Phoenix Wright's a press option. Yeah, basically. It's a waste that our coven can't benefit from some of the most powerful arts even if they're dangerous. Maybe we shouldn't grant access instantly, but we could open them up gradually as we educate our members on the implications and responsibilities of each spell. It's a bit risky, but it'll make us way stronger in the long run. Maybe. Trust your judgment. I actually like the idea of the permit system where, like, sometimes it's necessary. Just straight out banning it's a terrible idea. Free access and education is also a terrible idea. So let's do permits. Alright. Now on to mortal affairs. These are the stances of our competitors. We should guide them, take care of them, or cut all ties. Marissa wants to continue exploiting them for our benefit. Obviously, that's totally messed up. Ponder exploitation. Should we continue exploiting mortals? I mean, it's not like we were putting them through a grinder and exporting canned people. They aren't aware of this exploitation to begin with. Some of them are even happier thanks to some of the spells our covens cast on their communities. It's the most powerful position, to be honest. Ideals are beautiful, but truth be told, our coven benefits a great deal from our current relationship with mortals. To keep exploiting them is objectively good for the coven, but morally dubious for many witches. Be a tough sell. Yeah, does feel like a lot of these fourth options are the best because they're actually like the middle road. Work with either depending on what you want to bet on, so ponder guidance. So far I've been exploiting mortals. Maybe it's time we repay the service mortal societies have been inadvertently offering us. It's a good angle, although taking care of them entails many responsibilities as well as time and resources. We'll be giving up some of our coven's momentum to charity. Not that that's necessarily bad, but it's something to bear in mind. See. Let's play a game. Okay. To be honest, I don't care much about mortals. Try to guess what the fourth options are for now. Okay. I'll give it a shot, but I won't like think about it for super long because honestly, the stuff she comes up with is interesting, right? I don't care much about mortals or Earth or whatever society in this universe. If you think about it, I believe most people would prefer not to have witches meddling with their lives. On the other hand, we would forfeit many valuable resources. They've been a great source of magic power and inspiration. Also, cut all the shady practices and wrongdoings. And to some extent, it'll let us focus on our own affairs instead of dealing with petty disputes. What do you think? Okay, for this option, it's kind of hard to think about like what the middle ground between these things is because obviously, like, it's got to be a new, totally different option. So it can't be like a permit system. There is probably like some kind of, you know what? It's going to be about limitations. She wants to set some kind of limitations on how we interact with mortals. So it might be one of those like, it might be literally like the Star Trek, like, don't try to change or mess with their lives or whatever, or even crazier, reveal ourselves to them and literally just treat ourselves as a whole different, like, and let the mortals themselves decide if they want to work with us or not. Those are my thoughts. Let's see what happens. Well, what else could we do about a relationship with mortals? I don't know. Want to propose an alternative, it should be something drastically different. Just some iteration would feel uninspired. What about this? We reveal... There we go. We reveal the existence. That was one of them. Yeah, apparently mortals don't know witches exist. It's like not a thing people are aware of. So this is basically going back to Stray Gods. What we want to do there. I did figure it out. Whoa, coming out strong. What's your angle? Whatever decision we make regarding mortals will be morally gray since they don't know about us. What I propose is a simple concept. Truth. It'll definitely stir some chaos at the beginning, but in the end, wouldn't it be better if we develop a working relationship and make them aware of our capabilities? Let them ask directly for what they need? Literally become demigods, more or less. Though there is a downside to it because they're just gonna be like, oh, the witches will just solve all of our problems. That is beautiful, but didn't you pay attention in school? Humanity has a troubling relationship with witches. They burned us for sport. They burned poor innocent women. What can they really do about the real deal? It's like revealing the existence of lions to a rabbit. Also, most humans on Earth live in the internet now, so maybe they need that. They can hide or reject us, but in no way will they be able to hurt us. You're underestimating mortals' drive to destroy things, but sure, that could make our program look strong. We could spin a good angle from it. Prepare to be attacked in any debates, though. I mean, overall, I think the revealing of the existence is probably better because it really seems like the humans need help, and just like helping them secretly in the way we think that they need help is not necessarily the best. Smart coichicals. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go with revealing our existence. Roger that. All right, witch duties. Jasmine advocates for freedom and trust. Dahlia wants to institute magical tax, and Cupressa wants the quarterly controls. What are we gonna do? Come up with a new option. Okay, so what could be other than those things? Witch duties. What could it be? What could it be? Let me think about it for a moment. So, a way to make us all work together. I feel like this is going to be another like community service thing. But if we have community service as the punishment for doing something wrong, but then also community service as like, oh, everyone, every blank whatever has to help people like with stuff, like you have to do your community service yearly, like help other people duties. I don't know. What's the reverse of community service? Reverse of community service. The community has to help one person, coming up with grants and stuff. Like, it's one person helping community versus community helping one person. That's my thought of reverse. So it's just kind of everyone working together specifically on purpose. I don't know. I'm just gonna read this one. All the years you spent in this coven, what would you say has helped your A game the most? Ooh, mentorship programs. So, mentorship duties. If you are a witch and you are older, you have to mentor the youngers. Demand inspiration, sharing resources. Oh, I know. Aha, I got it. All right. Mentorship. My mentor, Yuenya, has been a cornerstone in my development as a witch. What do you say we institute a mentorship program? That's a great idea. Right now, one of the most pressing issues within our coven is the power gap between novices and elders. It'll help tighten the relationship between different generations of witches, too. I like it. This idea will be way better received among novices than elders. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We can celebrate it just by having it happen. Be a tough sell for the less charitable conservatives. Mentorship is something that requires a lot of time and work, but it'll get in the way of many of the elders' plans. You yourself will be forced to take on some apprentices. Think about what that'll mean for your lifestyle. I see. What are we gonna do about the witch duties? Let's ponder. I do want to see a couple of these extra ones. Coven's been pretty burdened for centuries now with Adana's abusive control. I don't know if complete freedom's a wise option, but it is something that sounds pretty nice. Should it fail to work for whatever reason, we could always review it in the future. As we discover our community is extremely proactive and they pitch in voluntarily, it's definitely we're gonna all fall behind.
Ta-da! The Fetty! Thank you.
But maybe it's not all about power and competition. We could turn this into a more independent laid-back association. In any case, my analysis is that this will weaken us in the long run, so not a great idea. Might be interesting to adopt Dahlia's idea of a magical tax. It doesn't require any specific actions to serve the coven, and it's pretty fair since we'll be asking for a percentage of every witch's magical output, whatever form that takes. No one should be worried about failing controls. You can go back to your existence wherever you want, provided you contribute to the coven's magical resources. It'll also open the door for us to attempt some ambitious projects, since that much energy from so many witches will be a tremendous asset to work with. It'll drag down personal development, though. Our sisters are used to having their full magical reserves to invest in their personal enterprises. So in the end, it's a matter of putting collectivism over individualism. Percent, because yeah, it's percent doesn't ever equal. What are we gonna do about it? Yeah, let's do the mentorship program. That sounds great. Mentorship program. You're absolutely right. That fourth option is basically almost always better. I'm really curious what the fourth option is going to be for what to do with Adana's corpse. Other than just like let it disperse and die and do nothing with it, which I don't think is a great idea. I think we should have new witches. Jasmine wants to devour her corpse. We can all absorb magic and become more powerful. It's my favorite. I always pick it. I guess we'll find out. Talia wants to scatter the remains, giving them back to the cosmos, more witches to ascend. Vanessa wants to conserve it and keep it as a channel to talk with the gods. I'm really curious about the new option. What if? Nah, it's too much. Like, literally. Spit it out, we're brainstorming here. What if only the leader gets to eat Adana? What if you hoard Adana's power all to yourself? Yeah, become some sort of super leader. If it becomes tradition, whoever's in charge will become more and more powerful with each generation. You pick this one every time, inheriting, you create the avatar, inheriting all the power of their predecessors, working towards a godlike figure who can safeguard the coven from any evil. That is dangerous. Not a lot of people will agree with this plan. If you manage to pull it off, you will become extremely... Why do you always pick this? This seems like a terrible idea. I don't want to imagine what this implies for your powers. That percentage is more reasonable. Percentage is more reasonable than a flat number for sure. But like, there's definitely the case that like the percentages are still difficult. Because like, yeah, it's not a perfect system. Because basically it's larger chunks of a poor person's money go, like for example, like a rich person, the amount of percentages like that go to their rent versus the amount of percentage of their income that goes to things that they want. Like basically poor people spend most of their income, the largest percentage, on just staying alive and existing, versus rich people spend a very small portion of their income on staying alive and existing, because some of those are actually pretty fixed costs. Like the price of food doesn't actually go up if you're rich, you just can make more luxurious choices. That they're not choosing to survive, they'd be choosing to like, oh, perhaps we can't get caviar today, my dear. Like it's not really. So that's kind of why the percentage is not perfect. But for like fines and fees and stuff, it's at least, at minimum, it's strictly better than the current system, which is flat number, which basically means that rich people are allowed to speed as much as they want and break pretty much all the laws on the road that involve a fee, park wherever they want, etc. Because it just doesn't matter, they'll just pay it. They'll be like, oh, it's a $200 fine to park here. It costs $200 to park here. And they can pay it. It means nothing to them. Hey, Cheeriner, shouldn't I become Super Witch? I mean, you can become Super Witch. I don't want to become Super Witch. I want more witches. You'd be able to write reality itself. I'll support you if that's what you want. Scatter. Maybe we should scatter Adana's remains. I mean, power for the sake of power is a bit pointless. And allowing more women to ascend and become witches seems the more humane thing to do. Probably right. Opening the gates to potentially double our size will definitely stir some chaos in these times of change. But who cares? That's also power in numbers. Just bear in mind that advocating for scattering the remains will earn the sympathies of the novices and discomfort from the elders and vice versa. Yeah, we basically, for the most part, it seems like the elders aren't gonna like us, but that's a them problem. Just tarot some extra witches to existence anyways. I mean, you can't, but like, not necessarily. Like, also you can still technically do that. Adrian stretch, thank you. Hooray, home stretch. Yay. Night shift. I mean, night shift could be cool. If that's your jam. Happy to hear that things are likely going in a positive direction. Also that this one actually is going to give you proper, this place will give you the proper hours, right? Because I remember that was the other problem with the VR place who didn't want you anyways, because they don't know what they're missing. You want to do? I want to scatter the remains. The super leader is ridiculous. Okay, maybe I'll get more information about what devouring Adana would actually do. Devouring Adana's corpse is tempting, but I'll instantly become more powerful and prepared to confront these times of change. Yep, nobody remarks? Not that I mind welcoming more witches, but becoming more powerful will sure come in handy for my job. It's a debate. I'll support you no matter what you choose. It really ain't, but a job is a job. That's fair. Just bear in mind that advocating for devouring her will earn us the sympathies of the conservatives and discomfort from the novices, and vice versa. Yeah. No, we gonna scatter those remains. Because more witches, more better. Oh geez, I mean, it seems like you weren't being paid enough to not really deal with thieves. Thieves doesn't sound like it would be in part of your duties. Isn't vitamin D? Oh yeah, vitamin D is very important. I mean, living in Seattle in general, vitamin D is like clutch. All right, that's a wrap then. Oh, security guard. Oh, then yeah, that was literally your job, but they were paying you absolute crap, so. All right, program as a whole. This program's unique enough. I think we're offering quite an interesting option over the other plans of our rivals. You happy with it? Yes. Just polish work. Oof. Great, wonderful, fantastic. Now take a minute to look at our program. Internalize it, believe it, make it yours. You're going to have to defend all of these decisions in front of your rivals and the whole coven. Most importantly, I'm going to need you to sell the concept of it. For that, we're going to need a slogan. There. Ugh, I'd rather do this without slogans. Come on, don't try to play it cool. You need a slogan. It's not like any other politicians use them to have fun. They really do work. Okay, whatever. What would you like to use as a slogan? No! Make the coven great again. Hey. Patrish? Patrish is a lady. Every witch is a lady. Though I do have some very interesting looks. Like, we have some very non-binary visages. Right? Stronger together, a real sisterhood. Dude, on data right now. Yeah, for sure. Oh, no worries. Listen, pronouns are one of those things. You make a mistake once and it gets fixed and it's all over, you're good. Plus, like, artistic decisions are made. Super leader, take fate into my hands. I mean, if you probably could. I'd say, like, a real sisterhood sounds great, honestly. A very happy coven. Stronger together is, I don't know. It feels like something I've heard somewhere else. But, like, I love the mentorship program. I love other things, so... Right. Sisterhood. Very loaded. I like it. Let it out. It implies that what Adana built wasn't a real sisterhood, but it doesn't insult her directly. It's a slogan that pleads for change, and the word sisterhood is a lovable term. The top one, yeah, I can't imagine where I've heard that top one before. Make the coven great again? No. I can work with this. Great job. Nice, thank you. We're almost done. We need to start campaigning, right? And for that, we need the ultimate, most classical form of Yes, we coven. I would have slam dunked that so hard, Bulldog. I would have slam dunked it. A poster. I get to make art. It's not like there are streets to space to plaster with my face. We'll send posters to everyone we know from inside and outside the coven. Try to have them set up in common spaces like temples or cosmic markets. It's not my style at all. That's why I'm here to do all the nasty marketing you are too self-conscious to do. I just want it all to be over. A few weeks, a couple months at max, and this will all be but a memory. You've done 200 years of exile. I'm sure you can endure this. Okay. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. I was thinking your new cards have a lot of style. What do you say? Want to compose the poster yourself? Yes. You're really talented. Let's just squeeze your artistic juices. Oh my god. Yes. Yes. Oh my god. Like, honestly, it's like they already knew what I wanted. Oh, and they're just like... They look awesome, though. Do I make this, like... I don't want to, like... is even a rotate tool, right? Like, oh man, you should see how I was creating these cards for this game. Like, I would totally recommend watching the earlier parts of this on YouTube, because the beginning of this game and some of the aspects of this game are just fantastic. And I've made some cards that I'm really proud of. Skills are cool, but I don't know if we need them. Wait, no, hold on. I'm really upset now because I know what I want the slogan to be. Believe in the heart of the cards. Obviously, it should have been believe in the heart of the cards. I am the heart of the cards. Believe in me. This seems great. Same height? Yeah. Not perfectly, because then they'll conflict with the, well, I'm like really upset that I couldn't do the heart of the cards in that thing now. I'm gonna think about this forever. The skulls. Wait a second. Whoa, I can make it darker. Oh. That's right, it's not just a color picker, it's actually this. I'm trying to figure out where I can put this that'll still like work. Right, and angry developers, it's Spanish, right? Just like, excuse me, I would like to believe directly in the heart of the cards, and I couldn't, and it's an absolute tragedy. Maybe I could just like put this in the back and it'll work. That just kind of makes it so it doesn't work the way I want it to work. Maybe we'll just put like a heart over there. We'll just do like a double. We'll put it over by this. That actually works pretty okay for me. What I want now is just to make this like continue. And this way, put it in the back. Actually looks like it's lined up better. Can't have it be exactly that. Put her higher and that'll work. Problem I was having with this weight here. Nah, never mind. The hearts. No. I mean, skulls are like really okay, but I don't like them so much. Skulls are just like cute. We just like, oh, I don't want it. We just like make it look like we get like a pocket skull, you know, for pocket skull reasons. Seems nice. Pocket skull's pretty good. Twisted a little bit so actually it's on the pocket.
Pocket skulls, pocket skulls. I always get sewn at the butt sparkles. Yeah, of course, butt sparkles. I mean, I could, but I mean, it's kind of what's happening here. We don't want to cover the butt because, like, you know, we want the witches to think we got a nice booty. Put work into it, right? Probably. I mean, what else are we gonna do over the past 200 years except for work out sometimes, you know? It's not the butt heart. Nah, no butt hearts. I thought about hearts in general, it just doesn't really work. I don't even like this. Honestly, I feel like it gets messy really quickly. I feel like this is as good as it gets without getting messy. Like, if I had more, like, swirly stuff, I would put swirly stuff in there, but, like, all of these are really sharp, or, like, this is just, like, so big. Seems super silly. Like, I could do it if I could make it so much smaller. Make it so it look like I'm grabbing the heart. No, even that doesn't work at all. I think this is as good as it's gonna get. Corazon zero dawn. Tiniest little wiggle. That's fine. What do you think? Pretty cool. Can never have too many stars on a political poster. Should I give it another try? No, it's good. I like it. It's powerful in a very unique way. I think it does a great job capturing your essence. We should send this to a museum once the race is over. Yeah, it kind of does sound like croissant. A little bit. Great, we're ready to win this race. Finally, honestly, I'm really not cut out for this. Yes, you are. Fate provided you with a mean sister to make sure of it. Just my luck. Now, to the unavoidable question. Why don't you draw a card to make sure we win this thing? Why did we put this much work in, then? For consistency. What does it matter if you become the next leader if you don't have a plan? You will actually have to run the coven, even if we get there through magical means, right? Doesn't come without its risks, though. There's always a chance to draw a card that doesn't offer any favorable results to us. And once drawn, there's no going back. We could assure our victory, but we could also doom us and make all of our efforts futile. Well, you know your deck better than anyone. Our chances of winning through sheer effort are pretty decent, I'd say. If you want to remove the anxiety from the competition by determining the outcome, I'm in. Let's draw a card. Yes, can't get enough of your divination. It's always so thrilling. So this thrill pays off. Cosmic wheel, cosmic wheel, cosmic wheel, cosmic wheel, cosmic wheel. More than reading into your sister's death? Yep. Ouch. Alt F4. How bad can it possibly get? We can't Alt F4 if it's actually the worst thing we've ever seen. Again, was more like a mere curiosity. Whereas this card is about to seal the outcome of many weeks of effort. Hit it. Cosmic wheel. Cosmic wheel. Cosmic wheel. Ugh. I mean, leadership is one of them. Okay. Dahlia win, mandate unprecedented peace that will extend beyond the coven. Jasmine, whoa, she will get drunk on power and start conquering other covens. Jasmine will win. Her mandate will be so fair that our coven will become almost an institution, getting to mediate over coven's issues. We will win. Our coven will become so successful that our program will be copied throughout many magic communities. Dang,
We nailed it. Perfect. So we can have our perfect community and everyone will be down with it. Like, I love the duality of Jasmine here is amazing. Either just like, the coven is so perfect and fair and everything is wonderful and amazing. Jasmine gets drunk on power. Or Dahlia wins and it's amazing and perfect. Like, I do love how there's a lot of amazing and perfects, but I think ours is the best because obviously we still have to lead the behemoths thing, especially because, yeah, what's gonna happen to the coven? I mean, to be fair, no, that's not so bad. Obviously, we're gonna win. We'll win. Our coven will become so successful that our program will be copied throughout many magical communities. Jackpot. Feels so weird to write my absolute victory. Just enjoy it, damn it. Never had the nerve to draw a card here. Well, now you know. Some of these cards are absolutely fascinating. But now, we just wait, arms crossed, to have the leadership of the coven handed to us? Now you have fun. You just enjoy the campaign knowing that no matter what you say or do, you get to win. Fun, huh? I'll try. Since we know the outcome already, now it's all about theatrics. Guess so. Feeling is similar to when I got to know my own end. It removes a lot of pressure from the very act of existing. We just play our part and wait to see the fireworks. Don't you like the feeling? Yes. It's all a game now. I would love to have certainty in my life. I would adore that, honestly. Right? I think I need to rest for a bit now. I'm gonna go home, take a bath, get my thoughts in order. When I come back, our next mission will be to form a team and start actually doing things. Okay, I'll be here. Chapter V. Pandemium. Pandemonium. Why do I even read words out loud? Please wait here. Uenya will be here in a moment. What is this? Am I dead? No, don't worry. You're not dead at all. I shouldn't say a lot more, though. Why not? Protocol. Sleep. Oh, right. I have to go to sleep. The game was saved a minute ago. Nothing... Nothing bad has happened. But we're going to go to the main screen. We'll start from the beginning of the next chapter next week. It'll be a perfect place to start. Listen, I just want to keep playing, okay? But you're right. Once I start, like, not speaking words correctly, it's a good call to call it a night. Plus, you know, so you've got to get those gains tomorrow morning. The Swole Pact continues. I hope people have been enjoying me posting the Swole Pack stuff still. I mean, I get a couple comments in here and there, but for the most part, I mean, it's not supposed to be there, like, it's supposed to be, oh, I can show the cards, sure. Okay, so basically how it works is, yeah, so you make the cards and it's just like this, like, instead of having a tarot deck, you have your own deck that you create, and you have, like, you take 3 elements and you combine them together. Like, you have a setting, basically the background, a, like, character, and then, like, an item. Like, in this case, it was this, and then, like, the wings. Like, it was the background, the girl, and the wings. And then there's, like, an elemental system to it. So, like, you get certain kind of elements that will lead to different kinds of outcomes that you can possibly draw. Like, it's a really cool system for divination. I've never seen anything like it before. I highly recommend this game. Like, this is another one where, like, yeah, I combined, like, this water goddess lady with, like, the wolf mother who takes care of orphans. It's so cool. And, like, the art part is super fun, too, because, like, as you see, I went crazy with this one. I, like, tried my best to have it look like it's swirling in and around the thing. Like, or this one on the side. Like, this combination is really cool. I like it a lot. With, like, the fires around this character. Obviously, this was really fun to make for, you know, reasons where it's like, yeah, just put her on top of the bar. Why not? Also, yeah, pathos with, you can make them basically as often as you want. It's a really, like, it's a system where you can make them as long as you have enough elements to do so. Yes, a witch ate my favorite card, but I remade it. Nothing bad happened. And, like, some of these have, like, basically the meanings and stuff get combined, so you get, like, a total interesting combination of stuff and meanings from it and different combination elements. And yes, this is actually my favorite card because it's so funny. Because I combined 3 things that I would not have expected to combine. Yeah, exactly. It's limitation by resource collection, absolutely. But you can also basically destroy later on you get the ability to destroy a card so that you get the elements back and all of the symbols as well, so you can just basically remake stuff in the future or make totally new combinations of things, or thin your deck, but it can never be thinner than 4 cards. This one is pretty cool. Yeah. Oh yeah, it shows me both. Oh, that's cool. It shows me this one and then this version, which I created again because they got destroyed. This one is pretty silly. Yep, you can only have the worst fire results if you wanted to. Fire results are awful for the most part. And just yeah. So I made some fun cards. They're really cool. I super recommend, like I said, I super recommend this game, and I super recommend watching the older streams on YouTube because there's a lot of really good story in this and a lot of really good conversations that happen. The heck is that bartender? He's serving stuff. He's got a perch. He's the bird tender. He tends the birds. Also, look, he's magical. He's got a cape. He's the super bartender. Banana fact, bananas are high in magnesium and tryptophan, which would help promote sleep. Also potassium, but I don't think that has anything to do with sleep. I didn't know that would be good for sleep. I also didn't know about the magnesium thing. Bartender Overlord Edition. I love this bartender. I think it's a great combo. Like, look, also I put the thing in the little windows. Like, I spent a lot on this one. Banana. I do have a banana actually, but I'm saving it for tomorrow morning. Yes, I will sleep well. I will go to bed and I will have a good morning tomorrow and hopefully get some work done on my project that I really need to do and set a very hard limit for that for Sunday. So everything I don't finish by Sunday just won't get to exist for the next month while I work on chapter 2 of my thesis, which is painful to think about, but that's just how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. Thesis writing is the worst. Thanks for joining. It was an absolute pleasure to get to hang out again. So, yeah, absolutely. For sure. I hope that everyone has a wonderful evening and tomorrow, and hopefully I'll get to see people again soon in the future, either on Tuesday, which I believe is a normal Tuesday. Yeah, I'm pretty sure next week's normal. I'm pretty sure next week is normal Tuesday and normal Thursday. Yeah, it is. And looking forward to that. Otsukaresama and good sleeps tonight. Bye, everyone. I should probably go to here even still. Yeah, university is weird, but it still doesn't matter because I still will be streaming at normal time.